All right, so we had the original problem, and we had our first two constraints that we can look at if we were looking from the right-hand side, working our way back. If R plus A happens to be E, what then do we know if we keep working our way over? If this is true, what do we know about S plus S? It could be C, or S plus S could be 10 plus C. All right, so that's possibilities from there. If R plus A had been 10 plus E, what would we have? Then we have S plus 1, which could be C, or it could be 10 plus C. And so what do you have? If this, then you could have these things, but you can't have those things if you had one of these, right? All right, and we can keep on going. And so what happens from here? What other conditions could we have? Right, so we could write them down in this kind of node-to-node kind of situation, or we could write them down in just like a paragraph kind of format, however we like. But what happens from here? Again, working our way over, what do we have here? S plus U is A, or S plus U is 10 plus A. From here, yeah, so then here we have S plus U plus 1 could be A, or S plus U plus 1 could be 10 plus A. And we keep going. Now all of these are at the same level. I just didn't draw very well. Then we keep going, do the same kinds of things over there. All right? Now this is kind of going through a construction where we're building each level, everything that's possible. We are brute forcing our way through every possible thing that can happen. If we had started from a different approach, then we might have had more luck, right? We might have been able to have fewer states to consider. But we're just expanding this from, we started on the right-hand side, we started expanding. What happens? You could go this way, or you could go this way. We have a level here. If we keep on going, now we have what? What happens right here? Right? Either we get U equals E, which it can't do, so we have to have U plus 1 equals E, which means that this is gone, right? Even though we would have filled it out, that branch doesn't work. And so it has to be in this situation. And then maybe that tells us other information as we're carrying on, right? So we look at what's happening in each situation. As we get more information, sometimes that means certain branches of this exploration are not going to work. They're not going to be relevant. So we have U plus 1 has to be E, or U plus 1 has to be 10 plus E. And so, again, we can organize all of this out into, here's what has to happen if that happened. And we can then, at the end, possibly either be able to just fill in our way back up to know exactly what's going on, or maybe there is still some explore possibilities in different situations, right? So maybe we rewrite this. S plus 1 equals C means what? That means that 2s plus 1 is c, or that 2s is c minus 1. Does that tell us anything? What do you know if 2s is equal to c minus 1? What would that mean?
C is odd.
C has to be an odd number. Right? C has to be an odd number, either from this approach because it's something times 2 plus 1, or from here because if that's going to be divisible by 2, then that has to be an even number. So C had to be odd. That's not in the direct statement of what we have, but those are the kinds of extra aspects that sometimes we have to be able to measure and recognize. If we're going to then ultimately do some kind of guessing answers and checking those answers, we can optimize that guess and check by knowing, we're only looking at even numbers here, or we're only looking at odd numbers, or whatever. What happens on this case? If it had been that one, we have what? 2s equals 9 plus c. What does that mean? Still means c is odd. So either way, in that situation, and then this, but is it the same over here? Over here, what happens? C would have to be an even number, right? So if C is an even number, we have to be on one of these branches. If C is an odd number, we're on one of those branches. And we can figure out which branches we're on when we get further down to see what is going on, right? Maybe ruling out some branches, and maybe not, right? Maybe it still comes down to you have to try these even numbers in this situation and those odd numbers in that situation when we get to a certain point. All right, we're going to do this in a lot more detail in terms of how you actually tackle problems like this. But the idea of being able to set up a problem that doesn't look like you're trying to search something, and really what are we trying to do? In a sense, we're trying to say, can I get from one place to the other following these pieces? This means you have to go there, where you can go there. If it's this thing, then this is what happens. And if it's that thing, then something else happens. All right. So you can explore this. Has anybody gone all the way to the end of this yet? All right. So let's take a few minutes then to finish out all of the requirements and see if you can then figure out what all the letters, what numbers they correspond to.